Let me try to get comfortable here. Hello and welcome to the news that didn't make the news. I will tell you that sometimes people will be here for the first 20 seconds of a video and then decide that I'm talking about something personal when I'm not talking about anything personal at all. And a lot of the reasons why I tell personal stories, not my personal stories, but personal stories in general, or stories that come across as personal, is because we understand things much better when put in personal symbolism or terminology than we do looking at something sometimes on the world stage. So that's what I want to talk about. So the title of this is Divorce, the movie. We know we're watching a movie. Divorce, the movie is ugly. Okay. So again, this is not a video about my personal divorce or my friend's divorce or anybody's divorce in particular, other than we are divorcing the paradigm and the reality that we no longer wish to see. Now, how does this tie into everything? And again, I'll go back to divorce is ugly. Why is divorce ugly? Okay. When you have two people, for whatever reason, that no longer wish to be together, they fight, they struggle. This is mine, that is mine. I want the car, I want the house, I want the kids, right? Okay. So the reason I'm using divorce and for symbology here, or divorce for this analogy, is because that's exactly what we're going through. Why is divorce so ugly? And why does divorce take so long? Again, in your personal life, divorce is ugly. Divorce takes a long time. Okay, litigation takes a long time. But so does correcting energetically and physically that which has gone wrong on this planet for so entirely long. Why is divorce so ugly? And why does divorce take so long? Because everybody's fighting for their side, right? Husband and wife, wife and wife, whatever you've got going on. When you're going through a divorce or separation, there is fighting, there is nitpicking, there's litigation, there's ego involved, okay? And why I'm comparing this, what's going on the world stage, to divorce is because that's why the scenario of the crumbling foundation of the cabal is taking so long. Whether you know it or want to believe it, the left and right are still the same part of the ugly presentation, which is the world government and or shadow government. Okay. I want to say something very, very important about the Epstein files, but I also want to make something very clear initially. Divorce is ugly, litigation is ugly, and it takes for freaking ever because both sides are fighting for what they don't want and what they do want, whether that's exposure, cars, houses, children, whatever that is. That is no different from what we are experiencing planet wide. Is this movie is a very ugly and very bitter divorce for the entire monster. Okay. And you can say in a relationship, my husband was a monster, my wife was a monster, however you want to say that. And right now in this divorce, we're saying, oh, the Republicans are nasty. Oh, President Trump is nasty. I don't like what Kennedy is saying. I don't like the things that Elon Musk is doing, but it doesn't matter because we are in the middle of divorcing a paradigm that no longer suits humanity's freedom and sovereignty. Okay. So in this divorce, instead of saying the man and woman are taking forever for litigation because they can't get along and they want to fight about what does and does not get disclosed, We are experiencing the exact same thing right now. Why does divorce take so long? And why is it so ugly? Because the Democratic side doesn't want certain things to be exposed. They want to lie about certain things. The Republicans want to lie about certain things and don't want certain things exposed. It is one monster with two heads. Most of you know that. And there's a very, very important truth to this. And the one thing I want to say is if you're going through a divorce personally, it's ugly. Litigation takes a long time because there's arguing, there's disagreements, and there's fighting over commodities and or assets. Okay. So if our government and shadow government were willing to let this all come out, you and I would have a much faster divorce from this paradigm. And all the fighting is to slow down the divorce. So while you're nitpicking who's exposing what, is this person bad, is this person good, you're slowing down the court proceedings. This is about justice and equality for planet Earth. Okay. Okay. The movie that we're watching right now. Do we care who gets what part in that movie? Do we go to a theater to enjoy a show and then talk through the entire show about our dislike for which character is playing what part? What are we looking for on the world stage? Are we seeking a worldwide awakening? Why do we feel the need to control how the awakening happens? That's like saying, you know what? I'm manifesting a soulmate. I'm praying to the universe, praying to whatever source I believe in. I'm asking for assistance to find the love of my life. Help me find that soulmate, right? And then you even say specifically, I want to meet the soulmate in the grocery store on Friday. Okay. Then Thursday, you're out running your errands, okay? Haven't put on makeup, maybe you haven't brushed your hair, maybe you're in your sweatpants and you're totally unprepared because you ordered something for the grocery store on Friday and now you're in resistance to the fact that it showed up one day early. So by looking at who the evil guy is or the good guy is, your resistance to change, your resistance to the shakedown that is your own sovereignty, freedom, and financial reset is the fact that you're taking sides here. You ordered a soulmate in the grocery store on Friday. Thursday, you went to the gas station and you met someone who feels like the very person you ordered, but it's not Friday. You're out running errands in your sweatpants and you were totally unprepared. So what do you do with that lack of preparation? I ordered it for Friday. On Thursday, it feels like it's here. Totally unprepared. You drop right into logical mind and say, oh, I have to realize I ordered something energetically. Your soulmate is an energetic connection. Well, guess what? The planetary awakening is also an energetic, heart-centered connection. You order something energetic, you order something heart-centered, and when it shows up, you try to logic yourself through it. That's why it's not working. And that's why resistance is making this movie or this divorce take so much longer than it's taking. It's the resistance of the people. I really wish people would understand this. We cannot logic our way through something energetic. The awakening is not logical, it's spiritual. The awakening is not logical, it's energetic. Okay. You want to assess it. You want to reassess it. You want to micromanage the way your reality personally and on the world stage solidifies. Do you want to divorce the paradigm? Do you want to divorce your partner? Or do you want to control it and micromanage how every single thing happens, how reality solidifies along the way? This whole process as a humanity, the way we're going through it is so non-counterproductive and so counterintuitive. Okay. On the world stage, we're treating the divorce from our partner the same way we're treating the world stage. Okay. We're doing it the same way. Okay. We want to divorce the paradigm, but then we want to decide exactly who the characters are. Okay. So let's say in your current reality, you want to divorce your partner. Let's say your family doesn't believe in that. Your religious, cultural background doesn't believe in that. But let's say your family would be understanding in certain circumstances. Okay. Maybe in certain circumstances in your religion, in your belief system, in your family's belief system, that there are things that are okay. It's okay to divorce your partner in certain instances. Okay. So in this paradigm, let's make believe for a second. You're with somebody, you've been with somebody for a long time. Maybe basically you had a massive awakening and they didn't, and you've got to separate. Okay. So, let's say you know that. You're very aware that you need to get this divorce, just like we're all very aware that we need to divorce the paradigm of the shadow government and how that trickles down into the government. We're very aware that we need to get a divorce. Okay. Let's say in your personal life, your religious background, however you were brought up, that divorce is not okay unless certain things happen. Okay. You want a divorce. You've wanted a divorce for a really long time. And your husband goes out and cheats on you. And that's the one thing in your mind or in your spiritual tool set or in your family's mind or your religious background mind. It's the one thing that makes it okay to get divorced. Okay. So inequivalent to what you're doing in your personal life, and I'm not saying that you're having a divorce in your personal life. I'm saying people, if I came here and just gave you a story about what's going on with the Epstein files and didn't give you a personal way to equate that, you wouldn't grasp it because you're so full of hate and animosity about certain people and certain political parties and certain things. This is not political. It has zero to do with politics whatsoever. You want a divorce. You've wanted a divorce for years. Okay, now you've caught your husband cheating. In your mind's eye, in your family's eye, in your heart's desire, I truly have a reason to now get divorced, and maybe I didn't have one before. In that instance, what are you going to do? Are you going to finally stand up for yourself? Are you going to finally file the paperwork for that divorce? Or are you going to go look online and look at your husband's social media, look at his Tinder account, look at all these things, figure out who he cheated with, maybe go and address it with him. I know you're cheating with this person. Okay, this is all the shit right now that you and I are all doing. Okay. We wanted a divorce from our partner for a very long time. We now have justification, solid ground to stand on, solid reasons to get it where maybe you thought you didn't have one before. Same thing is happening with the paradigm. These Epstein files are giving us a reason to divorce the ugly movie, the ugly truth. But we're fighting it every step of the way. We want to know who the bad guy is. We want to know who the good guy is. We want to know who the husband cheated with. It doesn't matter. You got what you want. You're in an uncomfortable position or an uncomfortable partnership or an uncomfortable marriage. You want a divorce. Now you have a solid foundation and reason for that. Are you going to dig into it? Are you going to look into every aspect of your husband's cheating and who he cheated with and all this crap? Or are you just going to accept the fact that this is a gift from God or a gift from the universe? Okay. Divorce is so long and so ugly because both sides want to argue about what they're going to do, what they're not going to do, who cheated, who got ugly first. It doesn't matter. The Epstein files are not political. The planetary awakening is not political. You are making it that way, but it is not that way. Okay. What I'm asking you here, and this is why I use the whole excuse of divorce or separation or extricating a family or friend member. It's something we've all been through. And it's something that we can all understand and be empathetic towards. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you, zoom out. Okay. Back away from this situation. Your husband gave you the perfect reason for divorce. Now go file a divorce. You don't need to know who he was cheating with. You don't need to know how long it's been going on. You don't need any of that unless your court proceedings are asking you for it, which I seriously doubt. Zoom out, because what I see is a planet full of people saying, is this guy good? Is that guy bad? We have to stop looking at the individual dots, which in one case might have been what your husband or wife did to you that was wrong. We have to stop looking at the individual dots as they are being connected and start looking at the overview. What's the overview on the world stage right now? What is the picture that's forming here on Earth before our very eyes? Are we seeing the crash of control? We want to see the crash of control, right? Is that what we're seeing? We want to see the deconstruction of the lie. Is that what we're seeing? Do we want to judge the dots that are being connected? Do we want to judge the actors? Or can we look at this and say, here's a manipulating, controlling, usurping, planetary gridlock of manipulation that's been happening for a millennia, and now we're crashing our way out of that system? Are we seeing the crash of control? Are we seeing the deconstruction of the lie before our very eyes? Is the truth of reality unfolding before us? Now, you may have known for 20 years about this massive state of corruption for millennia, okay? But your friends didn't. Your family didn't see it. They wouldn't listen to you. They said you were crazy. They said you were insane. They said you needed a tinfoil hat. But you didn't, you weren't, and you aren't. You were just the first one to the party. You were just the first one to see through it. You were just the first person in the relationship to know that you needed a divorce. You were one of the first people on the planet that knew we needed to divorce the paradigm, the shadow government, and how that trickles down into the government and everything that that encompasses. Do we need to control the demolition? Do we need to micromanage the script of this movie? Do we need to micromanage the collapse? Or can we simply be happy that the process of liberation is now in full swing, right? Divorce gets ugly before litigation is ever resolved, before equities and assets and homes and cars and children get divided. It gets ugly. We're at the ugly part, but your resistance to who is playing a particular role is making it take longer. Okay? You came here for this and you know it. You came here to be a part of this and you willingly got on this ride knowing that the bottom was going to drop out. Well, guess what? The bottom is dropping out. It's dropping out right now. You should be happy about this. You should be smiling right now. No matter who plays what part, we are going to be victorious. Does it matter who brings down the house of cards? If we zoom out, does it matter which actor plays which part? Okay. Are we going to sit through this whole movie? Are we going to sit through this whole ugly divorce saying, you know what? I don't like this. Are we going to sit through the entire movie saying to ourselves or our partner or whoever we went to the movie with, saying to ourselves, oh, well, Margot Robbie should have been the heroine. Why did they choose Gwyneth Paltrow? Are you going to talk through the entire script? of this movie? Or are you going to listen? Does it matter who plays the part as long as the part is played? Does it matter the script as long as the script is coming out? Why does it matter who delivers it? Is it because of your ego? The ego serves a purpose. But if you are hating Donald Trump or hating Elon Musk or hating anybody on the world stage that's crashing this paradigm, then we have a bigger problem. You want the system of manipulation and control to disappear. You want the bottom of the ride to drop out. And the bottom of the ride is dropping out. But you can't stop judging who's playing what part. You can't stop saying, I wanted Margot Robbie to be the heroine. Why in the hell would they pick Gwyneth Paltrow? I don't like her. And she was married to my secret boyfriend, Chris Martin of Coldplay. She doesn't deserve this part. I'm just trying to bring levity to this. Do I love Trump? No. Do I think that any one person is humanity's savior? No. But I'll ask you to consider something. Because the whole Epstein situation, whether Epstein's name is connected to or not, the whole freaking situation has gone on this planet for millennia. So let me ask you to consider something. Maybe you can stop hating Trump or Candace Owens or the West Coast Wizard for 1 second and say, do I agree with the paradigm shift? Do I agree to divorce the paradigm? If the answer is yes, stop saying that you wanted the part to be played by Margot Robbie and not Gwyneth Paltrow. It doesn't matter who's playing the part. It only matters that the demolition is happening. Do I love Trump? No. Do I think anyone in this script is the savior of the United States or the planet? Certainly not. But I'll ask you to consider something very, very important. What if this Epstein list, because at the end, it doesn't matter if it's Epstein, this has been going on for millennia. What if the Epstein list came out when Kennedy was president? The majority of the world loved Kennedy and his family. Would the Epstein list have carried as much weight if it came out when someone was in office that everyone loved? There are many presidents that were, much more loved, admired, and respected than others, okay? So why do we have a president that everybody is fighting about? Why is it a love him or hate him? Why is it left or right? Why are we making it political? When you divorce your spouse, is that political? This is no more political than divorcing your spouse, okay? Would the Epstein list have carried this much weight if it came out when there was a president in office that the majority of the people loved and respected? No. When Kennedy was in an office, we had a much more loving and trusting of the government sort of energy vibe on the planet at that time. That it wouldn't have done anything at that time. Okay, I'm not saying everyone loved Kennedy. I'm just making a point here. And the point is, we are witnessing the biggest split in polarity the planet has ever seen. Do you think, maybe sit with yourself for a second, Trump hater or lover, I don't care. Do you think for 1 second that the entire world would be watching, listening, and reading and paying attention to the Epstein list? Watching, reading, studying, downloading, paying attention to the Epstein files if the Donald Trump name wasn't in it? Again, we've got to zoom out, okay? When you're in litigation, you got to stop arguing over every little thing in order to get divorced. This is the exact same scenario. I'm going to say it one more time because it's so important. I don't care if Trump is guilty of doing whatever Epstein file list, whether he's in it, not in it, participated, didn't participate. It is a job, it is a script to dismantle the program. You have got to understand that. No matter what, I see all these people with this huge set of consciousness arguing about who's the bad guy and who's the good guy when it doesn't fucking matter. What matters is the ride is lost its bottom. What matters is the cabal is crashing. What matters is there's an awakening that this planet has never, ever seen before. And a huge part of that right now is due to the fact that Trump's name is on that list. 50%, I'm guessing, 40-50% of the world wouldn't even be listening, reading, downloading, paying attention to the Epstein files, period, if Trump's name wasn't on it. So can you stop thinking about Trump and whether he did something, didn't do something, whether he's guilty, whether he's the savior, or whether he's, the Satanist? Can we stop and say that if his name wasn't on the list, if Trump's name wasn't on the Epstein list or even proposed to be on the Epstein list, that half the world wouldn't even be paying attention, reading, discerning, or downloading these files? Can we understand how big it is? I know it's difficult, and I've been on this. I was born awake. It's really hard for me. I'm very impatient. I've been very impatient with this process for decades, but we have to start looking at this as neutral. Are we glad there's an awakening? Are we glad that we are coming to an end of manipulation, control, and usurpment on the planet? If the answer to those questions is yes, then it doesn't matter whether Margot Robbie got the part or Gwyneth Paltrow got the part. It doesn't matter if Trump got the part or if Kennedy got the part. All that matters is what's being exposed. And just like in an actual personal divorce proceeding, an actual divorce litigation, if you're going to argue over the car for 4 months, you're never going to get the end result. You're never going to get the divorce decree. Okay. You are slowing down the planetary divorce decree by arguing over who's the bad guy and who's the good guy. We are witnessing the biggest split in polarity this planet has ever seen. And I'm telling you, the half of the world would not be watching without Trump's name on that list. So think about, zoom out, just keep zooming out, and think about how important it is to have Trump's name on the Epstein list. Okay. It doesn't have to do anything with guilty or not guilty. You'll find that out in the end, but quit trying to skip to the end of the movie when we're like in the middle crescendo of the movie. If you will focus on what is important and not who got the leading role in the script, we'll be going a lot further, a lot faster. Now, think about strategy for a second. And I'm not saying Trump is innocent, and I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm trying to get your mind in a place of neutrality for like 30 seconds here. What if Trump's name was on that list just so everybody on the planet would pay attention? What if Trump's name was on that list just so everybody would read the files, so everybody would download the files, so everybody would understand the corruption? And there's going to be so much more. That this is like the tip of the iceberg with Epstein. You want to speed up the divorce proceedings in your personal life? Stop bickering. Is your freedom and sovereignty more important in your divorce? Or is it nitpick and argue over who's right, who's wrong, and who got to play the part? Who's the bad guy? Who's the one that cheated? It doesn't matter. When it needs to end, it needs to end. Now, think about strategy for a minute. The media is yanking everybody's emotional chain by saying, this is true, this isn't true, this person's on the list, this person's not on the list. Okay. The media is yanking everybody's emotional chain. Now, the reason why the media is constantly and perpetually yanking everybody's emotional change is because it yanking your emotional change pulls you out of logic. Yanking your emotional change pulls you out of rational thinking. Okay. Otherwise, there would be a million people on this planet saying, ooh, Trump's name, one of the most hated guys on the planet right now, or most loved, depending on what side of the fence you're on. Trump's name being on that list means it's going to be exposed, looked at, downloaded more than any other person's name being on that list. Everybody in media and social media is yanking your chain to pull you out of rational thinking. It does not matter individually who every single person on that list is. Get your mind out of that duality thinking. In neutrality, there's a collapse of manipulation, control, and usurpment that you wanted for forever. Doesn't matter if my name's on the list. It doesn't matter if Trump is guilty or not guilty. There's thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of guilty people. Why are we focusing on whether one person is innocent or guilty? Okay, I'm telling you it's intentional, and I'm telling you it's so everyone will pay attention and watch it. So exposure itself is the bigger picture. And if you can stop being left, if you can stop being right, if you can stop thinking and telling yourself and your people and everyone on social media that this is left, this is right, this is correct, this is not, this is of the light, this is of the dark, and steer down that path of neutrality, exposure itself is the bigger picture. Now, lastly, and very importantly, let's talk about artificial intelligence, and let's talk about how that pertains to the Epstein files. We have known, I and thousands of other people have been talking forever about how AI is so good now that you can't tell if the person is real. You can't tell if the information is real. You can't tell if it's Margot Robbie's body with Gwyneth Paltrow's head. You can't tell exactly who's playing the part. You can't exactly read the script. Because once those, the files, the 300 million files and the 180 videos and everything else, I'm not even reading them, just so you know. But I'm aware it's out there. I'm happy it's out there. I got on this ride knowing I was a system buster, knowing that I was a way shower. Got on this ride knowing that the bottom was going to drop out. I don't need to know the particulars. I don't have to connect every single dot and see how the movie's going to end. I'm just happy that it's happening. But with AI being as great as it is, this is again why you can't take everything black and white, why you can't make everything left and right, why you can't make everything polarity, why it cannot matter to you whether Trump is innocent or guilty. It's not about Trump. Why are we putting Trump on trial? Okay. It's about a planetary manipulation. It's about a planetary control. It's about a planetary evil. That's what's on trial, not Tina, not Trump. Hundreds of thousands of people are involved in this. And the moment those files dropped, AI itself could alter those files, or anybody that has AI tools on their computer could pull those documents and change the names and, redact things and highlight things or black things out. So not even that is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. AI is very, very huge. The way it has picked up, the way it has usurped itself into the planetary situation, the way certain individuals have used it to usurp the situation is insanity. You have to ask yourself what's real and what's not. You have to realize that this is not political. There's no other way you're going to do this? Are you going to go through, you're going to go through to the theater and, tell your husband the entire time you're watching the movie, I can't believe they picked Gwyneth Paltrow to play the heroine instead of Margot Robbie? Or are you going to listen to the movie? Everything else is just an emotional distraction. Hello, guys. I had the comments covered up for many reasons. Mostly, I wanted to be able to concentrate and get this. I almost said movie. I wanted to be able to concentrate and get this video out and do it in less than an hour. Sometimes people's comments redirect my ability to bring you a clear message because I get distracted by, whatever those comments may be. So I know people don't appreciate when I don't interact, but no, I'm doing it so that you can get the message in the clearest, fastest way that's humanly possible. I don't love Trump. I don't think Trump is a savior. I don't think anyone is a savior. Please, 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 if you're this fucking wrapped up in it, zoom out and look at the bigger picture, right? When you're a kid and your parents give you that coloring book with all the dots and you have to connect every dot, are you going to sit there with every single dot and analyze it? No, you don't. Because when you're a kid, you know better. You take your pen, your crayon, your colored pencil, whatever, and you connect the dots to have the full picture. I'm asking you to do the same thing here. Look at the bigger picture. Look at the overview. Look at who has to lose. The left and the right both have things to lose, okay? This list, it's not just Republican, it's not just Democratic, okay? It's everywhere. It's everything. Also, I will tell you, just because every single, we're not, every single person who is famous, who's an actor, who's a singer, who's whatever, is not guilty. Okay? Let things come out. Let it happen naturally. You're either happy with the fact that this movie is happening, meaning you're happy with the fact that we are divorcing the paradigm, you're happy with the fact that we're divorcing the usurpment, or you want to pick apart the dots that it took to connect to make the picture that you're going to later color in. Zoom out and focus on the picture. Zoom out and focus on the crashing of the shadow government. Zoom out and focus on the fact that things are happening that should make you happy. Okay? Thank you so much for being here. And until next time. I don't even know if this is even working because it says there's been no one here for the last 10 minutes. And why does that not surprise me? Okay, it's probably because I had hashtag Epstein files. We'll see. Thank you so much for being here. I'm saying, if you want to get divorced from your husband, let the car go. If you want to see this paradigm divorce from the shadow government faster, let go of who is playing the part of the bad guy or who is playing the part of the good guy. You don't go to the movie and say, you know what, Kevin Spacey makes a better bad guy than Mel Gibson. Okay, which is what millions of you are doing right now. We're supposed to be watching the movie and paying attention very closely and not judging who the character is that's delivering the script, that's playing the part. Thank you. I hope you will share this, because the longer we stay divided in this is good, this is evil, this is Republican, this is Democrat, this is black, this is white, the longer it takes to divorce the paradigm. Thank you.